I found absolute trans joy when I first cut all my hair off.
I got my hair cut into a kind of mullety shag.
I've always had a rather tumultuous relationship with my hair.
On the balcony outside my ex's flat, and she used a colander because we didn't have a bowl that fit around my head. Got some kitchen scissors and literally just went around the colander. The haircut was all kind of like lopsided, and there were bits of hair that were like not quite cut the right length, and it looked like a hot mess, but it was my hot mess, and it was finally the haircut-ish that I'd always wanted. I never looked back. It was the best feeling ever, literally a weight off my shoulders.
When I first moved to the UK, I was surrounded by a lot of my Caucasian counterparts. What I was told and what I saw as beautiful was very much Eurocentric valued. And so I spent a lot of time, a lot of money, essentially destroying my hair and really kind of breaking not just the hair, but the relationship that I have with my hair and sort of with my culture.
I'd always wanted short hair, and I guess what the resistance that was the fact that I was a little bit worried about how I would be perceived by having short hair. There's that saying that's like, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, and I hate that phrase and I think it's really toxic. But for me, nothing feels as good as a fresh trim, and I always think of that horrible, awful phrase when I get a haircut.
I just felt like that was one of the first times presenting as myself in a way that felt really authentic to who I am and how I wanted to express myself. I think the movement of this sort of like fluid moving hair around my head as well, it was very fun and free, and I think that links in with how I feel about my gender identity as well. I've only become more and more comfortable in my non-binary identity and in occupying a bigger space and not being afraid to take up that space.
I didn't feel beautiful within myself. I didn't feel proud of my hair. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I did something called the big chop. So the big chop is when you decide to grow your natural hair out. When I finally did the big chop, it seemed to be coinciding with a moment in my life where I was reaching a breaking point within my identity. And so it was interesting how the two of them somewhat worked in tandem in this chaotic sort of spiral of trying to figure myself out. Particularly whenever you're a Black person, your hair is one of the first elements that somebody sees within you.
Hair is also very central to a lot of like cultures and religions. It's just one of those things that I think is very inherent to the ways that humans express ourselves. But I think with the queer community, having hair be one of the things that we use to kind of rebel against those heteronormative patriarchal standards of beauty or conformity adds to the kind of freedom and separation from norm behaviors of how we're expected to act and conform to cis-het modes of being.
Immediately after I got my hair done, I ended up going to Thailand, and people started giving my hair sort of this attention and compliments that I had never received before in that capacity. It wasn't necessarily the fact that I was complimented, it was the fact I was being validated about a part of myself that was genuinely true.
I'll walk out of the barbershop with like an absolute spring in my step. I took that real main character energy and put it into my hair.
Since I had let my hair grow out, I was like, I've spent so many years growing out these curls. The least I can do is keep them. It not only validates the part of my culture, which felt kind of suppressed, also just be validated as who I am as well. And for both of them to be almost dancing together in this beautiful waltz, and that I'm there for the journey quite pleasantly, is just a really wonderful experience.
There's obviously that like stereotype that queer people walk really, really fast. Sometimes it's like a joke that, you know, it's so that we can run away from the bigots. But also I think maybe it's just the freedom. Sometimes I feel like I'm flying through the air because I feel really unencumbered by how I think I should look or walk or talk. Doesn't matter if it like fits in with how, you know, my gender should act, because that's free.
My hair used to give me a lot of anxiety, and now it brings me a ton of joy.